What's going on, fam? Welcome in, man, to the live stream. David Yeti, I am so happy to be with you here tonight, right? I have a good one. I got a good one. So, what I did is I put together what I like to call a masterclass for you guys. Now, obviously, I don't claim to be an expert, but I do know a thing or two about several topics. And one of those things that are near dear to my heart is networking. I'm going to say that again. Networking is near dear to my heart. It has been the single most important catalyst for me leveling up in life. Okay. So, some of you who have been here with me from the start, you know that at one point in time, I lost everything. I had to start from scratch. And actually, when I was going through it, it didn't feel like it at the time, but it turned out to be one of the best things that ever happened to me in my life because it put me in a position to where I had to redo everything and start from the ground zero. When I say the ground zero, I mean when I wanted to break into tech, when I wanted to do different things, when I wanted to level up and get a promotion and make more money, I didn't know anyone who could help me. Okay, so when I go through these 4 steps, I want you to keep in mind that I am not coming from a place of privilege, and everything that I have in terms of my network, and it continues to be as robust as ever. This has been earned over time. And that brings me to my very first point. This has taken me, what, 18, 24 months, almost 2 years to build a network that I have right now. And it came from a genuine place. And I'm going to tell you a little bit later how I evolved into what I'm going to share with you here today. All right. So, with that being said, let me show you what I've been working on. Let's check that out. All right. Boom. Yes, sir. Got the lower thirds at the bottom. All right. Now, this is the first ever masterclass. You can call it Networking 101, but this is the 4 steps to corporate networking and beyond, though. So, just because I have corporate blueprint in the title, don't get it twisted. I have worked in many different industries: automotive, manufacturing, oil and gas. These tips and strategies, what I'm going to show to you, work no matter where you are. So I don't want you to see the title and get discouraged and say, man, I'm not really into corporate. I'm not into tech. This don't apply to me. No. What I'm going to go through applies to every area, whether or not you're in retail, hospitality, travel. I'm telling you for a fact, I have used it many, many times. All right. So before we get started, let's get some housekeeping out the way. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you can get the latest videos. As of this recording, today is October 10th, and I have been releasing videos twice a week, and we're going to start to ramp up as we learn the YouTube landscape, but also as I get better with my calendar. So time is very important to me. Efficiency is very important to me. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So what I did for you today, I actually created a, I guess you could say, a web page, like a landing page. I created a landing page of the presentation, and it walks you through the 4 steps. And I'm gonna show you here in a second. So when you look at it, it's labeled as like module 1, module 2, but this is a dedicated web page. This link to my GitHub, where I actually uploaded it onto, will be available to you free of charge. No sign-ups, no none of that, right? So you can go straight to it and be able to use this. Now, let me address the elephant in the room. The reason why I'm doing this because I remember not having any connections, and I remember how hard it was for me to get started. And as more and more people start to reach out to me, and as I continue to level up my career, I understand that I'm not going to be able to talk to everyone on a one-on-one basis. But I think that this gives me kind of like the perfect segue to where I can still reach the mass amount of people and then be able to add value to what you have going on in your life. All right. So let me just get an audio check. Boom. That looks good. All right. Perfect. So let's dive into step 1. Let me move over here. All right. Perfect. Let's get this going. All right. Now, here is the effortless corporate networking blueprint. Okay. This will help you catapult your career to new heights with these 4 steps. It's going to be simple, but I'll go through and explain some of the context, what I mean by each step. But essentially what this allows you to do is stop chasing contacts and start building genuine, profitable connections today. All right, that's what I'm gonna teach you in this masterclass. How to build genuine, profitable connections. So let's dive right into it. All right, guys. So the very first thing to building any type of network, right? And this is so essential and so important. You have to go into the relationships with value first. I'm gonna say that again. Every relationship you go into, you have to go into it thinking, how can I add value to the other person first? Why? Because most people don't do that. So automatically, that's going to be your number one differentiator. It's going to set you apart from everybody else. I'm going to say that again. Going into these relationships thinking, how can I add value to the other person first, not thinking about what I can get out of it, is going to automatically set you apart from everyone else who's reaching out to, assumingly, this successful person. I know you're not just reaching out to no regular stegular. You're reaching out to somebody who's successful. So what's going to set you apart from everybody else? Adding value. And what do I mean by that? That brings us to the very, very first step. The mindset shift. This is essential, guys. This is so essential. And let me give you an example of what I mean by this before I dive into like the definition that I came up with, right? But essentially, you're going to get to the point in your career to where you don't need anything from anyone. I know this might sound counterintuitive, but once you understand what I'm saying, it'll all make sense. Every relationship I start to build, every work relationship, friendship, I automatically go into it first listening like, okay, I'm reaching out to this person. I want to meet them. I want to learn more about them. I'm genuinely curious about what made them be successful. How are they able to maintain what they're doing? And when I come into it with that mindset, I'm asking questions. I'm asking thoughtful questions. I'm asking things that most people may not do. And then that adds already to me differentiating myself. What do I mean by that? Let's dive into this right here, okay? So I have it labeled as modules, but essentially these are topics, these are subjects. Module 1, the mindset shift. So this is how you reframe networking from a transactional chore, just something like, man, I got to reach out to these people, to actually building genuine relationship, right? So you do that by shifting from your perspective from taking to giving. What did I just say? You're going to shift your perspective from taking to giving, AKA, how can I add value into this person's life? This will allow you to build more authentic and lasting connections. And then we're going to click each word right here and explore exactly like the core concepts of what we're talking about. So I'm going to zoom. Okay, I'm going to stroll up this to the bottom. So ditching the ask mindset, not ask, ditching the ask mindset. What do I mean by that? Okay. So I have people reach out to me on LinkedIn. We haven't met before. This is my first time talking to them. And the way that initial interaction or their initial message is, it kind of lets me know, at least it gives me a general idea of what does this person want from me. So think about it like this. If you are a successful executive already and you've made it to where you want to be in your career and everyone knows you're successful, most of the people who reach out to you are always going to be asking you for something, a referral. Can you sponsor me? Can you give me a warm intro to this person? Rarely do someone come in and say, hey, I'm curious about how are you doing genuinely? Like, how's your year going? What are some of your goals? Here's what I do, right? I'm an SDR on the commercial select team, and we go out to reach out to target companies And what we're doing is partnering with our account executives to drive more meetings so that we can help them with their security solutions. I'm curious, you on a renewals team, right? First off, what is your goal from a renewal standpoint, and how can the SDR and what I do on my role support what you guys are doing and help you reach your goal? Yep. Coming into it like that, automatically, they're like, man, okay. At the very least, it gets them interested to learn more about you. And that's really all you want, is just them to be a little interested, okay? Now, as we click on this, what do I mean by that? So the transactional approach, it kills authenticity. So you don't have authentic, genuine relationships. When you lead with a request, no matter how small it is, it puts the other person on the defensive. Exactly what I just said. So we'll show you how to start to give to build that immediate rapport and trust, and turning you into like a valuable source. So the example that I just gave, reaching out to the renewals team, figuring out what their goals are and how what you do can support that. That's one example. Okay. Now, the value is change rule. Have you ever heard before that when someone give you something, they're going to expect something in return? That's what this means right here. But with you, you're going to grow to the point to where you don't expect anything from anyone. You're genuinely giving, and you're genuinely curious because you understand that your insights, your refuel, the things that you need are not necessarily going to come from the people that you're helping at that time. It may come from somewhere else. So understanding that and having confidence that what you're doing is going to pay off regardless of whether or not this person like gives you a direct repayment of your good deed or not, you're not going to be concerned with that. I hope this is starting to make sense. So what do I mean by that? Well, before you connect, you must define your own value. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about, right? So with me, I know one of my strengths is networking. I know one of my strengths is positivity, being a curious person who's willing to listen to what people are going through. I know that's one of my strengths, right? So I was able to take that, and I'm also pretty good at AI. So when I come into these conversations and these meetings for the first time, I'm asking them questions about their background. I'm trying to figure out what drives them, what moves them, and also I'm trying to figure out what type of problems they have. So let me say it again. I'm figuring out what their goals are, what drives them, their reason why, and what challenges are they having. Once I find out those three things, I always know, like, okay, cool. So now I can, if, for example, if they want to drive more revenue or more, generate more meetings into their business, but one of the things they say they have a problem with is competitive intelligence, for example, I'm going to use my AI skills to build something for them free of charge, by the way, send it over to them for them to start to address that problem. And then automatically, once they start going through what you've given them, the insights, whether or not it's a conversation, whether or not it's a tool, now they automatically tie that solution to you. They tie the solution to you, and you become the person that they then can connect with, and they associate you with helping them with the solution. And here's what a return on a relationship. So this is ROR, not ROI. ROR, return on relationship. I don't track business cards. I don't do any of those things. Um, the metric, so the metric that I'm talking about here is fostering deep relationships. So let me give you another example of what I mean by that. Deep relationships. The person who hired me, she is one of my favorite managers of all time. I make sure I keep in contact with her on a professional level, but also on a personal level. I check in on people. I remember birthdays. I remember different trips that they having, if they're going to visit their parents and stuff. So I take notes. And every time I come and meet with them, the next time I meet with them, I can follow up on the conversation because I don't remember in my head. I just have a mechanism and a way for me to keep in contact with those things. And that builds an even stronger relationship and it keeps snowballing to the point to where we're genuinely friends after about 6 months of doing this thing. So let's do a recap. The very first step is to shift your mindset. Okay. Once you shift your mindset from transactional to genuine relationships, it switched from you asking for stuff for you coming in and seeing what you can give to other people without looking for anything in return. Oh, I apologize. Hold on 1 second. How did that happen? Let me get that back up for you guys. Stream hating on me, guys. All right, let me see. Okay, that'll work for now. All right, perfect. Let me lock this so that doesn't happen again. All right, perfect. Boom, it's locked now. All right. Then you're going to, after you ditch the ask for something mindset, you're going to start looking for the value exchange rules. So before you even connect, you must define what your own value is. It doesn't have to be nothing elaborate, but it has to be something that is useful to the other person. I used to think that being used was a bad thing, but it's actually the opposite. Excuse me. It's actually the opposite. It's a fantastic thing because being useful means you have value. Being useful means you have value. Okay. And that's going to build that return on relationship or the ROR. And that's going to lead you to deep relationships that foster trust. And it's going to lead to sponsorship. So these very people, the same people that you're building the relationships with, are going to end up being your biggest sponsors in the rooms that people are talking about you that you're not in. That's where promotions really happen. Because don't get it twisted. Future teams you want to join, the leaders know each other, they talk to each other, and they ask for, okay, who do you think is ready? Hey, what can you tell me about David? What type of person is he? Does he complain? Is he resourceful? Does he find a way to make things happen even when it seems like it's not going to happen, right? And so they're going to ask about you, and you want people to say great things about you in the rooms that you're not in. All right, so let me take a look at the chat real quick. And let me let's see. I forgot to get in as welcome in to the stream. More game just like this. Okay, so if you guys got any questions, I'm looking in the chat right now. Okay, are y'all with me? Okay. All right, cool. So, all right. So here we go. Now that we got step one out the way, let's talk about mapping your network so you make sure you're targeting the right people. Okay. You can call it strategic approach. You can call it coming up with a plan, whatever you want to call it. Just think about you have to know where you're going in order to build a proper plan. We can reverse engineer anything. And there's actually another one of my specialties is I can take any goal and within the matter of a few days, I can put a plan together to where we can pretty much reverse engineer this thing all the way to the end goal. So, what do I mean when I say strategic mapping? Mapping your network to the right people. Well, you want to move beyond like random events, and you don't want to just like be meeting with anybody. Like, you got to think about, I want you guys to start thinking about your time as being just as valuable as the people that you're reaching out to, right? Whether or not these directors, executive levels, whatever it is, your time is valuable as well. So let me give you an example of what I mean. For me, when I first started this role, I used to have no control over my calendar. So people would come in and they would like book meetings and stuff at times while I would be doing other tasks. And I had to learn how to time block, which is time blocking is you take 1 to 2 hours and you block it off on your calendar to where no one else can schedule something during that time. So sometimes, depending on how much work I have, I might block off the whole day, or I might block off the second half of the day, or towards the end of the week, or at the start of the week. It just kind of depends on what my workload is or what my expected workload is for that week. So here's my strategy, and this is what I do. From a calendar standpoint, Mondays to Tuesdays are my busiest days. These are the days where I can get ahead of my deals. I can do all of my outreach. I don't take any meetings that are not mandatory on Mondays and Tuesdays. I'm going to say that again. I don't take any meetings that are not mandatory, meaning they're not my manager, they're not my skip level manager or something. If it's anything that I can reschedule, I put that towards the end of the week. That goes for helping out teammates, talking to people who are not in the industry, who want to get into the industry. I wait until towards the end of the week. I focus on RGAs. What do I mean by that? Revenue generating activities. I'm going to say it again. RGA, revenue generating activities. This can be training. Obviously, this is reaching out to customers. This may be following up on certain accounts, entering in my deal information, partnering with the people who I'm supporting to make sure that I have the right target accounts and stuff. And from Wednesday, I kind of slack off just a little bit in terms of I open up a couple of my couple times slots on my calendar for people internally to meet with me. On Thursday and Friday, I have 2 to 3 hours available to where now I can pour into my teammates or I can pour into other people who want to get into the industry. So why is this important to you? Because the reason why this is important is because you want to take the approach when you're thinking about who to target the same way. I prioritize my network. People who are in a decision-making position, this is my direct manager, their managers for sure, target team leaders on the teams that I want to join. And whenever they're available, I can fit my schedule around them because this is a high impact type of meeting. Next, after that, I have like a mid tier to where these are teammates. This may be some admin type work, maybe the renewals team, something like that. I put that second to where, okay, I can squeeze them in on Wednesdays. And then everybody else, I put them on Thursdays and Fridays. So this session is going to help you focus your efforts on the maximum impact, like I was just saying, by connecting with individuals who can genuinely advance your career. I'm going to say that again. You want to connect with people who can help advance your career. Why? I am not talking, I'm not talking to my colleagues. No, I can talk to them on Thursday and Friday. Like, what are we talking for? No. Thursday and Friday, I can talk to them. But here's how you're going to do it. Quality over quantity. Learn how to create a curated focus list of internal and external leaders, potential mentors, and sponsors who truly align with your goals and can help you grow. How do you know if these people are aligned to your goals? Because when you had the meeting with them, you was genuinely curious about what type of person they is, and you're also checking for synergy when you're meeting with them. You're checking for synergy to see if this even a manager that you can see yourself working for in the first place. Now that I've moved up in corporate, I understand that your manager is just as important as the role or the company that you join. Because they're going to have a direct impact on how effective you are in your current role and whether or not you can use this role to prepare for the next one. This is something that I like right here, locating the invisible room. What do I mean by that? Check this out. The most valuable connections aren't made in crowded conferences. I don't go to mastermind meetings. I don't go to job fairs. I don't go to any of those things. I don't. I don't do, I'm going to tell you what's crazy. Volunteer events, and I got it right here. Volunteer boards, industry forums. Either one of you have to be there. Think about that for a second. You'll be surprised at what type of people you meet when neither one of you have to be at that event. The micro touch strategy. So I want you to use high value engagements to show that you're paying attention and understand their work. What does that mean? Guys, you're going to do a little research on the person before you actually meet with them. Like, go to their LinkedIn, see where they went to school at, see where their last couple of roles at. What I like to do personally is I go and I see where did they start. Believe it or not, a lot of the managers at one point in time have started in the role that I'm in right now. So I can speak to that like, hey, when you were a salesperson before you became a leader, did you start to prepare for the leader role while you were still a seller? How was that transition like? What type of training did you do? Did you have a mentor? Did you let your manager know ahead of time that you wanted to become a leader? Like, was it after the first year or the second year? So I'm asking insightful questions, and this lets them know that I've been paying attention to them and I've done my research. A well-placed, check this out, a well-placed insightful comment on a LinkedIn or quick internal email representing a recent project shows you're engaged and informed. That goes back to the differentiation. And that's how you're going to beat other people. You're going to beat them, guys. I promise you. Make no mistake about it. This is very much a competition. The higher up you go, the lower amount of jobs there are, and the more competition it is. So the higher up you go, the more lucrative it can be. Obviously, you're going to get paid more. You're going to have, more opportunity to gain visibility, all those type of things. But with that being said, it's also going to be more competitive. So these are going to be things that's going to set us apart. Let's do a recap. Module 2, step 2, strategic mapping. You want to make sure that you identify and target the right people and places. You want to focus on maximum impact by connecting with individuals who can genuinely advance your career. You're not spending a lot of time talking to your goddamn teammates. You love them, but ain't no time for that right now. You're talking to people who are decision makers. And here's the 3 takeaways. Identify your top 10 targets. So this would be the top 10 leaders. Now, the way I would do it is if you have, let's say you got 4 teams potentially that you want to join, I would do the 4 leaders of those teams. I would do the 1 or 2 executives that's over those managers. And then the rest, I'll do a couple of people from each team so I can get insights into what it's like working on a team. Maybe I can get some insights into what the expectations are. And now I'm starting to build out my pitch. So when I get into the interview process, I can speak to these things that I've learned on my own. Locating the invisible room. The most valuable connections aren't made at crowded conferences. They're made at places where neither one of you have to be. And a micro touch strategy. You want to do high value engagements, show that you're paying attention, And even if it's something small that you mentioned, like, hey, I seen on the other day. Matter of fact, you ain't even got to say I seen. You could just say, hey, so how was the event on Tuesday? You guys really seem like you had a great time. I was very interested in the topic that you're talking about. How did it go? That shows that you're paying attention. All right. Cool. So let's take another look at the chat. 1 second. I'm giving game, guys. I know what I'm talking about. I know if I don't know nothing else, I know what I'm talking about when it comes to this networking for a fact. And just to add more credibility to what I'm saying, I was able to take my income from 30,000 up to six figures in 6 months. In 6 months. Well, it took about 9 months. About 9 months from working at Walmart to getting into tech. And then once I started off at like I was at 70K, and then I got a promotion in January, and it took me up over 100. And now I'm in a position to get another promotion here in the next couple of months, and that's going to take me close to the 200s. So this is very much possible for you guys. And I'm hoping that for those of you who are watching the replay, please feel free to reach out in the comment section with your questions about anything that I can add clarity on. If you don't understand, or if I didn't explain it the right way, just reach out to me. I respond to every comment. And if you have any other type of insights that you need or anything that you want to be successful, I'm going to start asking you guys in the community tab about what type of topics you want to hear and what's going to help you get to your goals, because I don't want to get rich on my own. I don't want to get rich by myself. I want to help out as many of you as possible. So it looks like y'all all good in the chat. Um, all right. So let's move on to step 3. And now we're going to start to tie everything in together, okay? Okay. Step 3, the connection formula. So as we start to put everything together, now I'm going to tie it in. What we're going to be talking about here is the exact, I say scripts, guys, but what I'm really saying is I'm not going to give you word for word to say, because I want you to build it and make it your own. But I'm going to give you a couple of examples of how I built my elevator pitch. And essentially, all the elevator pitch is 2 or 3 sentences of yourself. It's real concise, quick, compact, and you just want to tell them who you are, what you do currently, and what you're looking to do in the future. That's pretty much it. Fair enough. So here's my elevator pitch. Hey, how's it going? My name is David Yeti. I'm an SDR on a commercial select team. I've been at X company for about a year and a half, and I'm very much interested in becoming a security account executive. So that's the reason why I reached out, because I seen that you've made that transition yourself. So I would love to hear about your background, what your mindset was during that process. And I might have a couple of questions here and there, but that's my primary goal for this meeting today. Boom, that's it. It's quick, straight to the point. Matter of fact, I'll give you another one. I'll give you another one. So when I was working at Walmart, I was in a position to become a manager, and I was only there for like 6 months. And this is what I would say if I was at Walmart. Hey, how's it going? My name is David Yeti. I am a meat associate in the meat department. I've been at Walmart for about 6 months. I had an opportunity to work with Jose, and he's been teaching me a lot about the management and the background. In terms of inventory and stocking and how to manage a team. So I reached out to you because I know that you've been a manager for the last 3 years, I hear that you're awesome. You're a great person to learn from. So whenever you get a chance, I would love to take you out for coffee or have a quick meeting so I can ask some questions about your transition and how you was able to make it to where you are in such a short period of time. That's it. I just spitballed that, by the way. I haven't been at Walmart for like 2 years. I just that just came off the top of the head. Because why? The core is I'm still myself. I mean, my name is David Yeti. I've been working here for this amount of time. I'm interested in learning about this. I know that you've already done it, so I want to learn from you. I'll take the logistics. I'll take the lead on the meeting logistics. I'll set the meeting. I'll find the restaurant and stuff. My treat. I just want to see if you're interested in speaking with me so I can learn more from you. That's it, guys. And then when you do that, you also gonna send an agenda. You're gonna send an agenda. So for every meeting that I have, whether or not it's with a teammate, a manager, a leader, whatever, I always send an agenda, and it has grown over the past couple of weeks to now. I break it down and I say, hey, excuse me, I would love to have 30 minutes on your calendar. I would love to have 30 minutes on your calendar. Um, and then I pull up that calendar, I send over the invite. Inside the description of the invite, I have broken down by 3 minutes for intro, 5 minutes for this question, 5 minutes for that question, 7 minutes for that question. I'm looking to get you out here in 25 minutes. So think about what I just said right there. Not only am I reaching out, telling them I'm interested in learning more about them, I'm also sending an agenda so they can prepare for it. I'm respecting their time by saying, hey, I asked for 30, but I only need 25. I want to give you 5 minutes back. A lot of times what end up happening is people be so impressed with the way that I run my meetings to that we end up going over, but it don't be because of me. I be like, hey, I know that we're almost up to time, so I want to be respectful. Oh, no, don't worry about it, David. Don't worry about it, buddy. Just let's keep going. For real. I see it every day. Like it literally happens every single day. So remember, we don't want to do small, awkward talk. We want to have meaningful, impactful conversations that are long lasting and have a positive impression. I want you to learn how to move beyond generic questions and create a genuine, rather, connection quickly. The 3 minute connection formula. Now I'm getting excited. I love this. Okay, so this is what I just said. Use the set opener, SET, set opener, at networking events or in a quick office interaction. Signal the intention. Acknowledge them with eye contact. Engage. Ask an open, non-generic question. Topic. Pivot to a specific professional topic of mutual interest. The set formula. I can give you an example of what I mean by that. I feel a sneeze coming up, but I don't want to sneeze in the middle of the stream. But listen, I ain't editing nothing out. We're going to keep it 100. We're going to show the real raw behind the scenes. I ain't editing nothing. So if I sneeze, I sneeze, but we're going to get this work. All right? So what do I mean by that? Set. All right? I see them. We're in a networking event or we in an event that I attended that nobody has to be there. Not networking, let me be clear. And I walked straight over to him. Hey, how's it going? David. Hey, David, my name is John. Hey, John, nice to meet you. All right, boom. So I'll say, this is where I kind of go back to your homework. So I would have already looked at who's going to be the speakers at the event. Because remember, I'm not going there to talk to regular people. Sorry, I'm not. So I've already looked up the speakers and I know a little bit something about him. So I'm gonna just say, hey, um, do you mind if I ask you a quick question? And they're gonna be like, yeah, sure. And I'll say, In terms of the new cyber threat for remote workers, I noticed that you released an article about some of the different things that we can do to reduce the risk. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on how does our products fit into the grand scheme of things. Like, do you see us becoming more of a market leader? Do you see competitors coming up? Like, what are your thoughts around that? Now, I'm saying that because I'm trying not to say the company that I work for, because I keep that private. So, but what we just did was we pivoted to a specific professional topic of mutual interest. I already know that he's interested in that because I seen that he had an article. Okay. So that's the set opener. And from that, maybe you want to ask one or two more questions and then you exchange contact information. Or for me, since it's internal events and I've already looked up the person name, I don't have to necessarily get their name because I got it already. I'm just going to hit them up in our internal chat later that same day. I just did this on Tuesday. I literally just did this 3 days ago. I connected with 4 speakers who were on the panel, and I have 2 meetings virtual already, one with an engineer, one with a sales leader, and the other with the engineering leader. We're going to have lunch at the first beginning of November. And rather than people talking to everybody else, talking to each other and shit, I wasn't doing that. I was talking to the speakers. I talked to a couple of people who were in the event too, don't get me wrong, but that wasn't my goal. My goal was to talk to the people who can actually make a career thumbs up decision. That's what I was talking to. High leverage questions. Move beyond the what do you do, because you should have already looked them up. And you want to spark a real conversation. Here's a couple of examples. What is the biggest challenge your team is focused on solving right now? That's a real good one. What emerging trends are you most excited about in our industry? That's kind of similar to the question that I just came up with. What's one piece of advice you'll give your younger self about navigating this company? This right here, if you don't take nothing else away from this section of the masterclass, from this clip, bring your ass back up here. What is the one piece of advice that you would give your younger self about navigating this company? That is a golden question, guys. I'm going to tell you how. For me, this is what I ask. So, obviously, you know that I'm fairly new to the corporate landscape, and I'm curious about the sneeze still trying to come up. I'm curious about what are some of the unwritten rules in corporate that I'm obviously not going to know until I gain the type of years of experience that you have. Are there any unwritten corporate rules? Every time I say that, they be like, David, man, let me tell you. You heard me? And they just start, like after that. Look, I'm telling you for a fact, that I got to get, myself a hand clap on that one because I don't even know how I came up with that question, but it was just kind of like evolved over time. But I always ask that question: what are some corporate um, non-written rules or the unwritten rules of corporate? That's a big one, and it always goes well. So, just 2 takeaways for this one. It's just about the connection formula, setting up that first initial chat. When you meet them, you want to meet the speakers of the event if you have a chance to. You don't have to necessarily exchange information with them because even if you're at an event to where it's not your company, you still, all you need is their name. You can look up on LinkedIn. You can follow up with them there. But it does work better with internal events. I will say that for sure. And then you're going to move beyond like those basic questions. All right. So This is perfect. Let me take a look at the chat real quick. And then we're going to dive into step 4, which is the final step. And this is tying everything together. Shout out to everyone, man. I really appreciate you for giving me an opportunity to add value into your life. We are building a true community here of rainmakers to where, let me give you the definition of a rainmaker. Definition of a rainmaker is not necessarily just being a salesperson, not just being in tech. A rainmaker, in my definition, is a person who is very resourceful, who is driven, who has goals, who is committed and determined to really putting in the work, and a person who does not take shortcuts. That's a rainmaker, because eventually, if you don't take shortcuts, continue to put yourself in a position to win, you will win, and you will win big. And we want to build and continue to build a community of like-minded individuals who are all going in the same direction. I want people in this community who are hungry, who want to be the best version of themselves. Not just when it comes to money. Yeah, we're going to get the bag, but I'm talking about character too, integrity, morals, right? What are your ethics like? How are you able to sleep with yourself at night, and type of person you are when you lay your head down on the pillow? Okay? Whatever it is that you believe in. Because I'm not here to say, Christianity, Muslim, blah, blah, blah. I'm not here to judge anyone. If you are genuinely a good person, and I didn't say you're infallible, obviously we're gonna make mistakes. But a rainmaker is all those things above. That's what a true rainmaker is. So if that's you, if you want to be that, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Turn on the notification bell, because I'm dropping videos every week. I'm dropping videos every week. And I'm not gatekeeping. I'm not holding nothing back. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to start layering the information. So this is networking 101. This is the basics of networking. But don't get it twisted. With just the basics, you can get the job, any job you want. You can get any promotion you want. I guarantee it. I stamp it. I put my name on it. You hear me? This is what I do. I consider myself one of the best people at networking in my entire sphere. Hands down. All right. So taking a look at the chat, we're good to go. We're winding down to the last topic right here. I didn't want to spend no more than an hour on this masterclass right here. If you are watching a replay, and if you're watching it and you're at this point, at the 48-minute point, man, salute to you. You the real MVP. I can't do none of this shit without you. I can't do none of it without you. I can't. I am just a man. I am just a humble servant. Okay. These ideas that I'm discussing have been synthesized from my mentors and from my own lived experience, and I'm bringing it to you. So I'm bringing you thousands of dollars worth of game right here. I went out there, I put the work in, I was willing to take the risk, and now I'm giving it to you so you can level up. Cause I don't want to be rich by myself. That's why. And I'm selfish because I want you to be happy too. Shit, I said it. So let's dive into the last topic of the evening. Step 4. This is where the rubber meets the road. Maintenance and leverage. You want to continue to nurture your network. Guys, I cannot stress this enough. The last thing you want to do is do steps 1 through 3. You done got your target list together. You done shifted your mindset. You've started to make some of those early connections and conversations, and you're reaching out to people, and you have one conversation and it's going good and stuff, and you do all that and you fail to follow up. I cannot tell you how many people have lost out on opportunities that failed, forgot, gave up, whatever you want to call it. They just didn't follow up. So this is what number 4 is all about. I'm gonna bump this up just a little bit. because I want you to be able to see this. And like I said, I ain't editing nothing out. I'm not. You hear me? All right, perfect, perfect. So I'm gonna lock this back. So what do I mean by that? Well, building a relationship is just the beginning. Like I said, the first connection is just the beginning. This final module is going to teach you how to nurture your network over a long term. And you want to convert trusted connections into powerful advocates who would champion your career growth. Remember, I said earlier that these people are going to be talking about you in rooms that you're not in. That's where your promotion is had. It's not doing the interview process. I'm going to do one even better. Should I tell? Nah, I'm going to tell you. I'm going to give you the game. Managers know who they want to hire before they even go into the interview process. Yep, I'm going to say that again. Managers know who they want to hire before they even go into the interview process. Now, I'm not saying that they made a decision. Let me be clear. What I mean is, I'll throw it back on you. Let's say you was a leader. Let's say you're a leader. You have an opening on your team. You want to build a positive team because obviously the performance of the team directly affects your commission, your bonus, your job security. The last thing you want to do is necessarily take a risk on someone. You have two people. The first person you talk to regularly, they've been checking in with you. They bring real thoughtful questions to the meeting. They take the advice you give them from one meeting, implement it, and then show you the results in the next. They're showing up with value. They're already talking to people on your team. They're learning things to make the onboarding process easier. That's the first person. Second person is they perform well, and you can talk to their manager, and they're pretty good at their job, but you've only really talked to them once at a company event. You don't really know a lot about them. You don't know what makes them tick. You don't know their reason why. They haven't been showing you any type of feedback, or they haven't turned it into a quasi mentor-mentee type relationship because you haven't talked to them a lot, right? They both show up at the interview. They both going through the interview. Who are you going to pick? The person you've been talking to, the person that has been showing you growth, the person that has been coming with value, that's been staying in touch, that already has a read on the team, that's showing that, hey, here's what I bring to the team. This is what I'm coming into it for. You going to pick them, or you going to pick the person that you don't know a lot about? I'll wait. Who you going to pick? Because I know if my job is riding on it, if my commission or my bonuses or my performance as a manager is riding on how well my team performs, I'm not just taking a chance on the other person. I'm sorry. I'm not going to do it, guys. And I don't think you will either. So this is the part of the masterclass to where we take a step back and we look at it from other people's perspective. This goes back to the whole mindset shift. I don't want a promotion just because I want more money. Of course I want more money, duh. Like, what? I don't do this for fun. Excuse me. I don't do this for fun. You hear me? I'm here to make the money, huh? Of course. But at the same time, I make more money by making sure I make my manager money. You heard me? I make more money by making sure I make my manager money. So that means I have to look at things from their perspective too. What will make them at ease in hiring me and bringing me onto their team? Yes, sir. So that goes us to the 90-day nurture. I can't say that. 90-day nurture cycle. Guys, I'm from Alabama. I talk with a little bit of lisp. I used to have braces. I got on retainers right now. Give me a break, okay? Nurture cycle. Okay? What do I mean by that? So I don't let none of my relationships die. I don't. I talk to all of my contacts. I don't go longer than 90 days without talking to them. Now, this is going to seem extreme. This is going to seem overwhelming. I understand it, especially as your network start to grow. You're going to have a lot of people that you know, and I understand that it's going to be tough. I do. I do. But this is why you make the big bucks. You're going to have to come up with your own system for following up, whether or not that's putting a simple calendar reminder or something, high value touch points like a relevant article and stuff. So you definitely want to make sure you tell them congratulations when different things happen in their life. And you can do this by following their LinkedIn page. And also sometimes I might send a message in the internal message board on Slack or something, or I might respond. It's easier to respond on like LinkedIn or something, or if they have a X account. But you want to make sure that you touch bases with them periodically for a couple different reasons. Why? Well, for one, you want to make sure that you're top of mind. So when opportunities come about, when things happen, they'll think of you. You will be the person that comes to mind. And also, it's just good practice. It's good money. It's good business to stay in touch with people. So every 90 days, it's gonna be easy in the beginning, but the more your network grow, it's gonna as if you start the habits early, when you like if you start it now at the beginning, by the time you get to, because I'm probably at 250 people so far, 250 high value, high visibility type relationships. And I do my very best to keep in contact with everybody. But I'm building a system right now in order to make it more automated and make it more streamlined. I ain't learning this AI and all this stuff for no reason. So I'm definitely going to be doing that for sure. And what's going to happen when you do that? The next one, you're going to start building a, remember I said a quasi mentor mentee type relationship, because your mentor gives advice, but a sponsor, let me tell you the difference. At first, they'll start off as a mentor. A mentor will like meet with you periodically, maybe once every 2 months, every 3 months, give you some advice on what you need to do and stuff like that. But the more you come to these meetings, like, hey, I really appreciate your insights. The advice you gave me, I took it, I implemented it, and this is the results. What do you think about this? And what would be the next step after this? I'm thinking about this as the next step. What do you think about that? Does that make sense? Am I missing any blind spots? This is me talking. And then they slowly evolve into a sponsorship. The biggest thing about a sponsor is they will use their influence and political capital to advocate for you behind closed doors. I'm going to say that again. They will use their influence and political capital to advocate for you behind closed doors. This is not the S Files. I might be aging myself. Y'all ever seen the S Files before? You don't remember that sound? What's funny about that is this is what people gonna start thinking about you, because they're gonna be like, what the fuck is John doing? I don't understand, like, how does he keep passing up everybody and getting the promotions? He don't have the best numbers. He don't have the best education. He's not better than me per se with skill. Let me tell you one of the things that I learned about corporate, guys. And this is why I love corporate now. I used to be afraid of it. I love it because you got to make a decision. Now, I'm in sales, I'm in SaaS sales, I'm in tech sales, security sales right now. We have numbers that we have to hit, right? But I said, okay, I came in for the first 3 months, and this is what I did. I started observing and I started watching. All right, so who wants to be promoted? Who hasn't got promoted yet? Okay. And what steps do we really need to take for real? And once I did that, I said, all right, cool. So what I realized is the people who hit 150%, 120%, 170% past goal, they made more money. Makes sense, right? But those people, it didn't necessarily correlate to getting a promotion or a raise. I'm going to say that again. The people who spent all of their time being very excellent at their job are not the ones that's getting the promotions. It's actually the people who are still pretty good at their job. Maybe they hit 100%, maybe they hit 90%, hell, maybe they hit 75% of goals. But they're building a relationship, they're building the skills for the next role, they're volunteering, taking extra assignments, doing projects, gaining visibility in front of the executive leadership team. Those are the people who get promoted over the people who just have the high performance. And that's why I say people are going to start looking at you like, how is he doing this? How is she doing this? That's how. So you got to make a decision. You either want to be the highest performer or you want to be among the high, close proximity, but you have the intangibles and the things that they don't have. That's the decision that everybody has to make. And I decided that I wasn't going to worry about being the best person on the team. I decided I was going to be pretty good at my job, excellent at networking. And that's how I was able to get promoted over people who have been on the team 2 and 3 years longer than me. Now, eventually, some of them, my entire team I used to be on, all of us got promoted. So I'm not saying that just being a high performer doesn't work. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if that's the only thing you do, don't be surprised if other people who are not as good as you, who don't have higher numbers, don't be surprised if they pass you. That's what I'm saying. Why? Because they're doing the other things. So in conclusion of step 4, remember, building a relationship is just the beginning. You want to make sure that you nurture it. How are you going to do that? Well, you're going to put everyone on a 90-day nurture cycle. You want to follow up with them every 90 days. Don't let more than 90 days go by because you don't want the relationship to die down. And then this is going to go from a meeting for the first time to them being your mentor to them being a sponsor, which means the sponsor is going to advocate on your behalf for you to get the promotion in the rooms that you're not in. And I have at the bottom right here, you can't see it because let me take this off. I have at the bottom right here, the don't wait to the next event, find the one person in your top 10. So I have like this little action area down here for you guys to take advantage of. But this has been the conclusion, man, of the first ever masterclass. I hope that you guys have found value in this. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. This candidly has been some of the best times of my life, man. I've evolved a lot more. I've switched over from being an introvert to extrovert. I have an X account now, a TikTok, a damn Instagram. I used to be afraid of all those platforms. It is amazing at what becoming comfortable, being uncomfortable can do for you in your career. I anticipate increasing my income in 2026. I anticipate increasing my income up to the $350,000 range by using what we discussed today, as well as leveling up with my skills, getting certain certifications, and we'll dive into more of that as we go along. But I appreciate you. Remember, I can't do this without you. I love you all. I hope that you guys have a fantastic Friday. I look forward to seeing you in the next masterclass. And be on the lookout for the study with me's. We're going to be launching that in the next couple of days. I'll drop a short on that as well. And I've been seeing you guys been sharing my videos too, and you've been leaving comments. You are the real MVP. Real talk. Like, you guys have been holding me down, man, since last September. You seen that the channel has evolved, and I've been trying out different things. And as we start to find our footing here, I'm really looking forward to you being the early adopters, the early people. You guys are always going to have a special place in my heart. All right. So I love you. I appreciate you. And to the next video, man, I hope y'all have a great night. All right. Peace.